Welcome, golfers. We're here at Quick Fix Golf on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's quickfixgolf.com where you get the free video analysis every swing. Tell them all about it, Darren.
Yeah, why do we do it for free?
Because we got a government loan for some Cuban.
So what you need to do is get your cell phone out and take a video of your golf swing and send it to us. It's the best money that you can spend because it is free. And upload it to quickfixgolf.com, and we'll give you a great analysis and some drills to work on, and then we go from there. So why not? Why not? You got nothing to lose.
You can get a free initial consultation with an attorney sometimes. You can
Yep.
get a free initial consultation with a doctor.
Yep.
You know, why shouldn't you at least, because there's so many shysters out there, you should be able to try somebody first and see how good they are
Exactly.
before you spend any money. Tonight's episode here, tell them, Darren, what it's all about, because you put this all.
Oh yes, it's Mikey D and the USGA back it to their old.
This is ridiculous.
This is just unreal. Mikey D, Mikey Davis, and his cronies trying to figure out another way to just ruin the game. You know, the USGA is the premise of the USGA is they're the protectors of the game, and in my opinion, they're always ruining the game. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about one of their newest steps to and their attempt is what they call preserve the game, but the facts that we're going to show you tonight are going to be the complete opposite. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. And
well, there is an argument for the fact that these kids are hitting the ball 350 yards and they're dwarfing the golf course. But there's other ways to do it besides shortening the driver.
You know,
because most of those guys are hitting it that far aren't using 48-inch drivers; they're using 45-inch drivers.
Bobby, people are going to find a way, one way or another, to compete and try to win. You know, we're watching. We've got in the background here, we've got the World Series on, and if anybody's watching the World Series, we don't want to see bunt singles. We want to see home runs. I don't know about you, but watching bunt singles is no fun. And we want to see home runs, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So is the rule fair? What is the rule, first of all, to start out with, is that they're limiting the length of a driver from 48 inches to 46 inches. And here's a great picture. Is it fair? Go back to that last picture. Yeah. There's Gary Player and Yao Ming, right? So Yao Ming's pitching wedge, believe it or not, is 45 inches long. I had a great opportunity when I was working for Nicklaus to meet Dr. J, and very similar. He had a pitching wedge at 45 inches long. So, you know, if you're going to limit golf club size, what are you doing for Yao Ming and what are you doing for Dr. J? And it's not fair to them. So what are they going to do? Bryson DeChambeau, their driver's going to be 46 inches and their wedges, they're all going to be, it's not fair. Now, given the fact that this is, it's a local rule, so you can get around it a little bit, but nonetheless, the USGA is making this effort to reel in distance. And it all falls back on Mikey D to limit distance, and it's just not, in my opinion, not good for the game. You know, he promised he was going to roll the ball back before he was gone. He's gone now, and now they're coming up with different ways to try to figure out how to limit distance. Slide.
Sippy, if you do me a favor, go ahead and mute your mic.
Slide.
All right, next slide. Here we go.
Okay, so one of the other options, and we interviewed Bill McDonald.
Yes.
South Carolina
Coach of the
coach.
college golf team.
Yep, and his opinion was, what was it, Bobby?
Shorten the tee.
Shorten the tee, shorten the peg. So this chart here is from Trackman, and you can see on the left. The far left is club head speed and what we call angle of attack. An angle of attack is a measurement of how the club is coming into the golf ball. So the closer the ball is to the ground, the more down your angle of attack needs to be. And down, in at least in this chart, means a negative number. A positive number is going to be the club moving away from the ground. So if we look at the first couple of lines there, at 75 miles an hour, if you're swinging down at 5 degrees, you're going to hit it at 182 yards. And if you're swinging up, you're going to swing it or hit it at 206, which same club head speed, right? But different angles of attack, and tee height is a direct relationship on how or whether you can hit down or hit up. So if your ball's just straight on the ground, you better be hitting down on it. You have no choice.
Right, so if you can tee it up 4 inches, which is the limit now, you can catch it on the way up. If you catch it on the way up, you're adding additional loft with your body or your angle of attack.
You are, and you're taking off spin. So,
yeah, you notice the numbers of spin right there. Spin like 3,200 all the way down to 1,900.
Yep. And the less the ball spins, the faster it's moving. So, what are some of the options? Well, you don't necessarily have to limit the length of the golf club. You can limit the height of where you're teeing the ball up.
Limit the ability to get it on the
exactly.
Because in the old days, you made a little pile of sand and you put your ball on.
There you go. Yeah. So back in the day, there was no such thing as a golf tee.
Back when I used to play.
Right.
You took feathers and you put them in the ball and you sewed it up.
Back in the 1600s, right? Exactly. There was no such thing as a tee. It was just you carried around this little pouch of sand.
Yeah, you put sand down and you put your ball
sand on, you put the sand, and there you had it. So.
And you look at the formation of those old wooden woods, like Will has a set of McGregor's on his wall there. They're really, really old. The heads were small and the sole was very rounded, so that you could actually hit the driver off. That's when you hit the driver off the deck.
Exactly.
It was rounded.
Exactly.
Today you can't do it as easy.
Nope, no chance.
Ready for the next one?
Yep. Okay, so
Wow, what is this?
This is going to scare everyone. So the facts are in. We've
Sippy, those were his putts in that circle.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's a good dispersion. So now that the USGA has come out with this study, or their ruling now, that's going to happen on the 1st of January, everybody and their mother and their sisters and brothers are looking to have some sort of experiment or some sort of conclusions on the difference between going from a 48-inch driver to a 46 or 45-inch driver. And that's basically what the rule is saying. The rule is saying that the maximum length of a driver is going to be 46 inches.
The rule is a local rule. Explain that to them.
It is a local rule.
Each tournament can decide whether they want to adhere to that rule or not.
Yes, and local rules are a little tricky in that sense, because you can alter the rules depending on the course that you're at, or the event you're having, or the caliber of player that's at the event. So you can adjust some things. But another example of a local rule would be the one ball rule, meaning that if you start with a Titleist Pro V, you better end with the Titleist Pro V and not with a Callaway.
And you can't change it to Pro VX.
And then you can't go to Pro VX either. So they've given you a little bit of wiggle room there, but the basis of this rule is that your driver length can't exceed 46 inches. So the testing is out, the experimenting is out. So what's the difference between a 48-inch driver and a 46-inch driver? So you take a look at some of the statistics here. And, basically what happens at 1 inch in length, you're gaining 1 to 2 miles per hour of club head speed. And this is right off a Trackman right here that you can see at 45 inches. The player that I was...
The white balls, and then the yellow balls are the 48 inches.
Correct, yes. So the white balls are the 45 and the yellow are the 48. So at 45 inches, the club head speed is 109. And at 48 inches, the club head speed is 113. It's exactly what it should be, like we just talked about. 1 inch is roughly 1 to 2 miles per hour. So yes, you are gaining club head speed. There's no doubt one bit. You will get faster club head speed.
But you're losing centerness of hit.
You are. So let's take a look at the smash factor. So you go from club head speed and you over 2 boxes, and you see the box that says smash factor. What is smash factor? Well, the smash factor is a ratio of how fast the ball is moving and the club head is moving. And that's just telling us that the longer the golf club is, you're missing the sweet spot. So at 48 inches, you're really not gaining any distance. You're gaining club head speed, which is great, but you're not really gaining distance. Let's go to the next slide, please. Next slide. There you go. Okay. And in this slide here, we can see a couple of different things, especially when it comes to the carry and the total. With the 45-inch driver, your total yards is 303 yards. And your 48-inch driver, your average, at least in this experiment, there were 10 drivers hit with one shot taking out as a miss, and you're at 300 yards. So in this experiment, at least, the longer the driver was, the shorter your distance was.
By 3 yards, 4 yards.
Now this experiment was done with a player who was a +3 handicap, a very, very good player, not the average player, a very, very good player. So you can imagine, as the bogey golfer, how much distance you are going to lose with the longer golf club because of missing the sweet spot. Okay, so here's the next slide. What happens when you go from a 45-inch driver to a 48-inch driver? Well, a lot of things happen. What do you think happens in there, Bobby?
A lot of dispersion.
Well, dispersion. So why do you have the dispersion?
Because the club's longer. I mean, it's just harder to get to the center of gravity of the golf club.
What do you think happens to the flex of the golf club?
It droops. It's going to droop down. And you're trying to get the driver to actually pass the hands at impact, and you might not be able to pull that off with a 48-incher.
Yep. So now you're starting to get different flexing. You're starting to get different spin rates, all because you've added 3 inches. When you have 3 inches in length, like we talked about, you're looking at 4 to 6 miles an hour club head speed. So that's going to affect the flex of the shaft. When you have a flex of the shaft that's experienced, you're going to have different dynamic lofts. And dynamic loft is just basically the loft that the golf club has hit. So you can see in this experiment here with the 48-inch driver, we've deducted 1 inch of loft because of all these factors that we talked about. Now, what does that mean for the overall length? Well, it means that you're going to hit it just a little bit farther because your driver is now dialed in a little bit more. But in general, you're still missing the sweet spot. So it's not going to be...
Well, you reduce the loft because when you got a longer driver, you're going to get more loft out of that golf club. So you could instead of using a 12 degree, you could use an 11 degree or whatever.
Well, that's just because of what we talked about, is speed and things along those lines. So, but
so it's awfully hard to be accurate with a 48-inch driver.
So here's my experience with it. Nicklaus tried it. I was on the range when Jack decided that he was done playing competitive golf, and that's the only reason he played golf, was for competition. And him and his team, and I won't use any names, decided to try a 48-inch driver, and it just didn't work for Jack. And at that point, Jack realized that he couldn't hit it at the distance that he needed to be competitive. And he said, I'm done on the senior tour. I'm done competing, and that's it.
Yeah, but
So,
I could see him having trouble with the 48-incher because he was so vertical. So upright. What kind of
Wow.
wedges that you have in the office? They're
Yeah,
2 or
I
3
don't
degrees
know.
upright.
I
You don't
don't,
think that does it?
it could be, I'm not, I don't know about that.
And
I
if
mean,
you're a
I
little
just
more
think.
rounded, you can hit it along the
So
club.
let me ask you this question. Um, Talk to me about watching Grey's Anatomy on a Wednesday night. Where's the surgeon holding the scalpel?
Closer to the.
Closer to the knife, right?
That's why Bill Melhorn always said your club should be shorter, not longer.
Exactly. So what we're doing tonight is we're proving that the USGA has wasted a lot of our money and a lot of time for nothing.
Yeah, but they had to say they did something. It's like the government.
It's an ego thing, Bobby. It's an ego thing. The USGA is trying to. It's an ego thing. It really is. You know.
One more here, right?
Nope. We should be good. Yep. Let's see if we got any questions here.
Who's got some questions? You can go ahead and open up your mics. Mr. Nation, you have a question?
I do. So would you be saying that the average amateur golfer should play a 45-inch driver?
If you asked me, I'd say 44 and a half.
Okay.
And I would say the opposite. I'd say you need to play a 46-inch driver and learn to hit the sweet spot more often.
Okay.
I just think there's, I'm biased, but I think golf courses should be made more strategic and tighter. You look at the Masters, they've lengthened it 4 times and still the one hole that busts their chops is number 12. It's a 9-iron.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a 9-iron. You go to
But
Jack
still-
Druga and they make that golf course longer and longer and longer. And what's the hole that kills them? It's a wedge.
Yeah. But still, I mean, distance is a huge important thing.
Oh,
So
yes, yes.
I think with everyone, it's a little bit different, but I think in general, I think 46 inches is a good number where you can kind of control, sweet spot hits. 48 inches, I'm telling you, I watched it. There's nobody who's got better experience than I do watching Jack Nicklaus hit a 48-inch driver, and it just didn't work for him. So maybe for long drive, 48-inch drivers, and for a 48-inch driver, if you're looking at the example here, you can see that this was the longest drive that was hit. The drive that was highlighted here, the longest drive that was hit was with the 48-inch driver with the setting at 1 degree less. But for long drive, all they need to do is hit one. It's not like you're on the PGA Tour where you got to hit,
14 in a row.
14. So at long drive, that's a different story. But I'm telling you, I watched it with Nicklaus. He experimented with it for a little bit, and it did not work because you couldn't be consistent enough with it.
You're better off in the center of gravity of the golf club, meaning the middle of the club face, wherever that is, at 100 miles an hour than you are out on a toe at 105 miles an hour, 110 miles an hour. You just, the center of gravity is going to have the fastest ball speed off the face. And it's ball speed, not club head speed, that matters.
Yeah, it's the difference. The example I like to use a lot is Bruce Lee. I mean, Bruce Lee was an expert in controlling speed and force when it came to throwing a punch, or I shouldn't even say a punch. It's more of a whatever.
It'll feel like a punch.
Yeah. Good job.
Oh, hot dog.
Poor guy.
Bobby, Joe McLean here. Is Bryson DeChambeau using 48 inches, Darren? Do you know?
He was, but he won't be anymore.
No, yeah, he's back and forth. He's back and forth with it. So just kind of depending on what he's trying to do. But yes, he's had that 48-inch driver in play for sure. And
What about Dustin Johnson?
No. Dustin Johnson is not that long. He's at a 45-inch driver.
Okay.
But we are in discussions with Bryson's long drive coach, Bobby Peterson, and we're going to have him on the show here in the hopefully next 2 weeks. He's going to tell us a lot about some of those decisions on Bryson working with long drive, and then Bryson working with playing on tour, and different tournaments having different lengths of shafts. So we're going to get some really good insight there.
It's funny how you think things affect certain things. For instance, the course I play at in Philadelphia, we took down 800 trees this year, and they did a complete layout on the fact that the handicaps did not go down 1 point. It didn't make the course any easier at all.
No, but and you know, I've got a lot of experience with that too, as well as renovations. It's just good for the golf course and good for the grass. You know, if a golf course, exactly, it depends on the age of the golf course. When I was working at the Country Club of Fairfield, it was designed by Seth Rayner and Charles Blair McDonald back in 1912. Same thing with Yale. Both were designed at the same exact time.
Our course has never been better.
That's exactly it, you know, because you know it needs air and it needs sunlight and you know, through time, you know, trees and all these things, they grow and they inhibit growth, and so there's a lot to be said about that, and that's
we have Gil Hance there right now as
there
we
you go.
speak.
Exactly, you can't get any better than that.
No kidding. All right, thanks.
Question?
I've done some research